Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Matt Johnston, also known as Matt the Lawyer, with the Johnston Business Law Group. This is the second in a series of videos where we are talking about accommodations for employees when you're bringing them back to work as you reopen your business. In the last video, we talked about OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Act, which requires employers provide a reasonably safe workplace dealing with known hazards. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what you need to be communicating with employees so that you can make them aware of what is happening in your workplace in terms of safety, but also to start a kind of a dialogue with employees so that they can have some sort of feeling and thought that you are trying to accommodate those people who have both a need for legitimate accommodations and for those who have a little bit of fear. So the first thing that you want to be doing is communicating with employees what your health and safety plan is. And I strongly, strongly recommend this be written down. So some of the things that should be included in there, you can use OSHA's guidelines for some information on how to prepare your workspace and manage a cleanliness effort within your workspace. The CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, also has some guidelines and suggestions for employers. You don't have to implement all of those, but you should reasonably be considering all of them. Some of them may be impractical, some of them may be inapplicable to your particular workspace. But your workspace is your workspace. You are going to have to conduct an analysis. So you should conduct an analysis both of the physical space as well as the places where that are high traffic, places where employees congregate together or have to interact, places where employees and customers also interact, so that you can assess the risks. And then you should communicate this risk assessment out to your employees along with the steps that you are taking to help keep them reasonably safe from the known hazards. This is going to be the first important communication between you and your employees, and it should conclude, or it probably should lead and conclude, with a request for input from employees. And you should be careful to say that not all input is going to be incorporated into this document, but all input will be considered. And if it's reasonable, if it's reasonable and it will increase the safety of your employees and customers, you should consider implementing it. It allows you to have a dialogue regarding the safety protocols that you're going to have in your workspace. So write it down, communicate it out to your employees. Okay? This is also a good time to talk to your employees about whether or not they may need an accommodation. Now, we're going to talk a little bit later in another video about the fear factor, not the old Joe Rogan TV show, but the factor of somebody having a fear of coming back into work, fear of exposure. Some people are going to say, I'm afraid. Okay? You don't want to get into a contest where you're saying, well, your fear is unreasonable. Fears are sometimes reasonable, sometimes irrational, at least according to most counselors that I know, psychiatric counselors that is. But it's an opportunity for you to open up a dialogue. And you can say, why are you fearful? Why? Is there something we can do to help alleviate that fear? You may not know. And you may end up getting a response that, well, I have asthma. Or, well, I'm caring for somebody who is immunocompromised. Now we're talking about something other than a generalized fear. Now we're talking about something very, very specific that an accommodation may, and I repeat, may be possible. So when you're communicating out your plan for cleanliness, your plan for safety, this is an opportunity to both ask for input and ask what will make people feel safe. and you also have the opportunity to begin a dialogue related to somebody's particularized fear. And if that fear is based upon something that can be accommodated, then it's something that you should consider. Our next couple of videos are going to be speaking about the Americans with Disabilities Act. We're going to talk specifically about what the Act is and how it applies to employers, and more specifically, who it does not apply to. In the meantime, stay safe out there, and we will speak to you later. Bye-bye.